Welcome to another edition of The Story Behind the Car. We're with Jeff and Gabi and a 1955 Cadillac Series 62, which he was saying, Jeff, you were saying this is the base model.
This is the base model, and it's the short one.
And you can tell it's short. I mean, look how short it is.
Yeah.
It fills up that parking space.
Yeah. The DeVilles and the Fleetwoods have a longer trunk.
Okay.
So if you look at it from the side, it looks a little bit stubby.
Yeah.
But from the back doors forward, they're the same, but the other models have a little longer trunk.
Wow. And before I started the video, you were saying that you got it in Kirksville, Missouri.
Found it in a shed up by Kirksville, and my son was 16 and likes older antique type stuff,
yeah,
but had no desire to learn to drive, which I don't understand, but
yeah, I don't understand that at all.
And we went up to Staunton and looked around, and
say hi,
you certainly can say hi. We went
so
up to
Gabi,
Staunton.
the car show dog, is already attracting.
Hi, sweetie.
We went up to Staunton and looked at the old cars, and he really liked the 50s cars.
Hi.
So
Hi.
he being a dad with an odd sense of humor, I told him, well, you know what? You get your license, maybe we'll get one.
Yes.
And so
can I open the door while you're talking, Jeff?
Sure.
Please.
And sorry, it's not really clean, but take a look at what you'd like to.
Boy, that door's heavy.
Yeah. And so I told him, you know, maybe you get your license, we can get one. And to run the point home and to mess with him a little bit, I would find cars on Craigslist and I would send them to him.
Yeah.
And he's, oh, I like that car. Well, maybe you get your license and we'll get it. Crickets.
Yeah.
And maybe you get your license and we'll get it. So I would do this for weeks and weeks and weeks. And we found this. And he said, Dad, I want that car. So,
holy cow.
Standard thing is like, you want to get your license, maybe we'll get it.
Yeah.
And he says, no, Dad, I want that car. I will get my license, and I have XX to put towards it saved up.
And how old is he now?
He's 23 now.
Okay, so this was, what, 7 years ago?
And so then I was like, oh, crap, now what am I going to do? And went home, talked to Mom. One thing led to another. We went up and we looked at it, and we climbed underneath it and stabbed the floorboards with a screwdriver and the rails, and everything seemed solid.
Yes.
And it started, and gas squirted straight up out of the carburetor. It had no brakes, so we jacked up the rear end, put it in drive, the wheels went forward, put it in reverse, the wheels went backwards, and we decided to take a chance on it. So
yes,
we trailered it home. And this was the typical small town. Across the street from where we got it was a trailer park.
Okay.
And in front of one of the trailers, I kid you not, was a toilet with a plant in it. So it was just a little small town. So we brought it home and did brakes, carburetor, and I hadn't done any of that stuff since high school.
Yes.
And unfortunately, those bumper ends are about $900 or $1,000 each.
Holy cow!
So,
I was showing earlier how the heat from the exhaust had heated up the chrome, and then it had rotted.
The heat, and then the lead and the gas at the time.
Okay.
Was very corrosive to it as well.
And where's the gas filler? Is it behind the taillight?
Yeah, that was what I was going to do. I love showing this to kids at car shows.
Yes.
That's one of the things that I enjoy doing.
And it may be an old, it may not be true, but I heard there was a car, it was a Chevy, stolen, and when they ran out of gas, they found it on the side of the road because the kids didn't know
how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I interrupted you.
No, that's okay. And so I brought it home, and I hadn't done brakes, drum brakes, or carburetor or anything since high school.
Yeah.
And so I did it and showed my son how to do stuff like that. So we went through the entire brake system. We had to send the master and booster off because they needed to be re-sleeved, and I don't have the ability to do that.
Right.
But other than that, we've done everything ourselves. The paint is original, and it's just been all hand rubbed.
Yes.
And everything, because there were some thin spots in it, and I really didn't want to use.
Yeah, you can see
Yeah, I really didn't want to use anything power on it, and.
Well, it is beautiful.
And if you happen to, when you had your head in the front, if you looked at the shift quadrant, note that it reverses all the way down on the bottom, and it
Yes.
does not have park.
I had a 61 Buick. It had park, but reverse was all the way down, and I was at a car show with it, and this gentleman told me that when he was in high school, his dad's car did that, and he ruined the transmission by dropping it in reverse, thinking he was
Down the
putting
highway.
putting it in first.
Yeah. But this doesn't even have park. This is the original version of the Hydromatic. This is the last year of it.
Oh, okay. And is it smooth ride?
Very smooth ride.
Yeah, and smooth shifting, I meant?
Yeah, it pretty much, the Hydromatics weren't known for being smooth.
Yes.
But this does quite well. And we have not been in the engine or the transmission. We clean stuff up, but we haven't been in it. That's a little Kleenex disperser holder.
And what is the lever on the side of the instrument cluster?
This pulled out.
This one that slides down right here?
That is the heat and vent that puts it on the floor, that puts it on the windshield.
Wow.
And on the other side, there's a matching one that is the blower and the heat control.
For the speed, okay.
For the speed of the blower and also the temperature of the heater. This has 2 dual heater cores in it.
Holy
and
cow.
it comes also through the door into here to get heat into the back seat.
Oh, wow.
So it was a Cadillac. It was it was the top of the line. The original radio works. It has tubes. We open it up.
Does it really?
Yeah, we redid the capacitors in it, and the original radio works. You turn it on, and it slowly warms up, and you get the hum.
Yeah.
You know, from the original tube radios. It has the original vacuum wipers. We did have the motor redone on the vacuum wipers. There's a guy that does it, and it was relatively cheap.
Yes.
So we had the vacuum wipers redone.
That's a term I haven't heard in a long time. Relatively cheap.
Relatively cheap. Old car. It was, $100 realistically. So it was not bad.
Yeah.
And this is the vacuum off the engine, but it's a Cadillac. So it also has an internal vacuum pump in the engine. So when you hit the gas going down the road, the wipers don't stop.
Yes.
So it's actually inside of the engine, mounted onto the oil pump.
And a beautiful hood ornament. And these front, I don't know if they're bumperettes or
Dagmars.
Dagmar, that's it. Yeah.
Dagmar with a D. Dagmar.
With a D,
Wrap
correct.
your knuckles on it.
Yeah.
And again, all the chrome and everything is all original as we found it. Just a lot of cleaning and a lot of polishing.
Yeah.
And she's a little on the dirty side now, but.
And can we see the engine, Jeff?
Would you like to?
Yeah.
We can certainly do that. Is that okay with you, Gabi?
I love that hood ornament too. Just beautiful.
This?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. This is 331 cubic inches. This is the last year for this engine. And on the Cadillac itself, you'll notice there are V's in various places.
Yes.
On the hood and on the trunk and in various things. Cadillac has the V8, and they were very proud of their V8.
Yes.
So they put V's on places. And this is the last year of the first generation of the overhead valve engine. And
So this is the oil cleaner.
correct.
And then is this power steering?
Yes, sir. Power steering.
And what is this here?
That is the brake booster.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so it has power brakes. This is the first year it was standard. It was available for a couple years before, but this is the first year it was standard.
Okay.
The brake booster itself is wet, so it's got fluid in it, and it has bleeders, and there's a bleeding procedure.
Okay.
The master is under the floorboard, under your feet.
Okay.
So when you hit the brake, it pressurizes up to here, and then this boosts your pressure and puts it out to the wheel. And the brake pedal is on an arm that goes like this, and the arm is so long that it has its own grease zerk. And so that's what does. So the brake booster's under your seat. And in other cars, the Chevys and whatever, I believe you had to pull the carpet up to check the brake fluid.
Okay.
But this is a Cadillac, so it has that little
right.
cylinder right there.
Yeah, right
and
here.
that runs down to the master.
Okay.
But in other divisions, you had to open the floorboard up to do it. And this has a transmission dipstick like you always think of.
Yes.
But the original version of it didn't, and you had to pull the carpet back, and there was a panel on the transmission hump to check the fluid. then they said, hey, we should do it like this.
Yeah.
And a lot of people comment on, why is the brake booster like this? Why is this like that? It's because they just started doing it. They didn't know how to do it differently.
Yeah.
And then somebody said, hey, why don't we do this? It makes a lot of sense. But
The
until
evolution,
somebody does that, So this is 331 cubic inches, 250 horsepower. It does have a 4-barrel on it.
Okay. I'm going to move around to the other side real quick. And the famous Cadillac horns, I see.
Yes, and they let you know they honk.
Yeah.
It's because the
Such a
brakes
beautiful
suck.
sound, too.
Yeah, it's
And I
because the
won't
brakes.
kick your drink over. I'm going to walk around.
Yep.
Oh, there's the Cadillac script on the valve cover.
And we've kept it all original. The only thing that we've really done to it is put seat belts in it.
I saw that, and I saw you had the three-point seat
Yeah,
belt.
put a 3-point seat belt in it. I'm a seat belt believer. And
Yeah.
my son drives it with his friends, and
Yes.
I'm going to go with seat belts. Other than that, I'm a purist, and everything's pretty much as she was.
Yeah.
Yeah, Goblin. New dog was a joke for my wife because our old dog, and she kept saying she was going to get a tag for it, and never did. So I got that as a joke, and we've never replaced it. Her name's Goblin. Gobby.
Goblin.
Yeah, it's Gobby. Yeah. Goblin. Gobby for short.
Is she a Stafford or?
Yes, very good. Yeah, most of her is a Staffy Terrier. She's got a little bulldog in her, a little pit bull in her, like 3%
Well,
pit
while
bull.
Jeff is
her
talking to the
dog
woman
is
about the
French.
dog, I'll show the
Because I
inside
have
a
a
little
French
bit.
bulldog,
Yeah.
and I'm
We'll
like,
wrap up the
she
video.
almost reminds me of my
This
Frenchie,
happens
but
quite
I'm like,
often. You're shooting a
I know
video,
she's
and
not, but I'm like,
usually
she
the
might
people
be,
gather
like,
around and
French,
want to
and I'm like,
talk about the car.
Yeah, we had a
In this
DNA
case,
test done on her because we didn't know what
wants
she
to talk
was. We
about-
found her in a shelter.
Really?
So,
Jeff's dog.
yeah, she's a little timid, but she loves people. Once she
Yeah.
knows you, she's your friend for life.
Broad shoulders.
Oh, yeah, she could pull this car.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
she could
why-
pull
I mean,
this car.
That's why I think like she looks like my Frenchie, and I'm like,
What color Frenchie you got? I got a white one.
I have a
Well,
black
thanks again, Jeff.
Thank
We'll
you.
go ahead.
What other, sorry, got to
Yeah.
talking. What other questions do you have? These, behind these blisters,
Yeah.
that has dual heater cores that are in the fender
Oh, yeah,
wells,
you
and
mentioned that,
These
yeah.
are fresh air, those are fresh air blisters. It was a Cadillac thing to give you fresh air. It comes in underneath the wipers, go through there, and it has tubes that catch rain that goes down.
Okay.
What other questions do you have?
I see the reservoir for the windshield washer fluid.
Yep, glass reservoir.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice and safe. Go figure. At least it's not
Yeah.
gas. But
Yeah.
however, the fuel filter is a gas, is a glass.
As well.
Yeah, is glass as well. So I guess they figured it was safe.
Any other quirkiness? You've named a lot of quirky things. Any other quirkiness that we should talk about before we wrap it up?
Yes, the last thing is that when we started working on it, the way it was sit in our garage, the way it fit in our garage, we happened to work on the right side first, doing the brakes and the wheels and everything like that. We did cylinders, lines. Then we moved it around and went over to the left-hand side, and we could not get the lug nuts off. Yanked
Oh,
on
yes.
it, tugged on it.
Yeah.
I'm a big guy. I stood on a breaker bar.
Yeah, you were just tightening them.
And I looked down. I'm like, is that an L? So it has left-handed lug nuts on the left-hand side. Even the big nut for the wheel bearing is left-handed thread. So
Yeah,
we
my
do all-
Buick, 61 Buick had that.
Did
So I took all the studs out on the left side and replaced them.
replaced them.
Yeah.
Now we still have them original, and underneath the hubcap, I painted left thread. I'm always going to do it, but if we're ever on the side of the road and AAA has to do it,
Yes.
something like that. But so yeah, we've had it. We've put about 7,000 miles or so on it, give or take. We put about 1,000 a year on it,
Yeah.
and it does just fine going down the highway. It, for whatever reason, I can just sit back and I do the speed limit, and I'm in the right lane. But for whatever reason, I'm fine and relaxed just doing the speed limit, and this does just fine at 60 miles an hour, which is a feat if you think about it, because when it was designed, they didn't have highways.
Yes.
So the most you really had was a 45 or 50 mile an hour road.
Yes.
So the fact that I was the first person to ever take this over 70 miles an hour, I'm sure, in its entire life.
Isn't that crazy?
And the antenna is vacuum operated,
Wow.
and this is its retracted position.
Holy smokes.
And it
Come in Tokyo.
Yeah, but if you realize that back in the day they just had AM.
Yeah.
And you were driving in the middle of a country road.
Yeah.
And So you had to do what you had to do, and
Yes.
everything wasn't the radios weren't the best, so you needed to have the best reception you could.
Yeah.
So,
Very interesting.
yeah.
Well, thank you again, Jeff.
You're
We
very
greatly
welcome.
appreciate your time and telling us the story behind your 55 Cadillac.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.